Education Society, redefining excellence.
Hello everyone, my name is K. Sarvesh. I am pursuing diploma in electrical engineering. Me and my group make a project presentation on microgrid. In this project, we're going to know about what is actually microgrid, operating modes of the microgrid, need of the microgrid, environmental aspects of the microgrid, conventional grid versus a microgrid difference, advantages and disadvantages of a microgrid, and the future direction of a microgrid. Let's begin. Introduction. So, what is a microgrid? A microgrid can be defined as an independent power network that uses a local distributed energy resources to provide a grid backup or off-grid power to meet a local electricity needs. At the more basic level, microgrids are a micro means a small and offer means a grid, an interconnected system of links. The micro part of the equation means simply that it is smaller than the utility scale grid. Let's move on. Next slide. The need of microgrid. So what is the need of the microgrid? Microgrid provide efficient, low-cost, clean energy, enhance the local residency, and improve the operations and the stability of a regional electricity grid. They provide a dynamic responsiveness, unprecedented for an energy resources. A microgrid benefits its customer and society in many ways. It keeps the light on when the central grid fails. It offers a way to upgrade the distribution grid, harden infrastructure, and the protect communities through the sophisticated automated energy management. Energy management. And a microgrid can give a clean energy use and can create economic value for a customer as well as a broader grid. Let's move on next slide. So microgrid components. What is the components of the microgrid? The components of a microgrid included a controllable generation like natural gas, fuel combined heat and power CHP, and fuel cells, limited or non-controllable generation like photovoltaic solar array or wind turbine backups, generators, uninterruptible power supply UPS, energy storage capabilities. The microgrid management balance the generation and load. The microgrid interacts with the local distribution network or the microgrid with the points common coupling. Let's move on next slide. How does microgrid work? This is a very big question, and going to know about how the microgrid works. To understand how the microgrid works, we have to first understand how the grid works. The grid connects to the home, businesses, and other buildings to the central power sources, which allow us to use the appliances, heating, cooling system, and electronics. But this interconnectedness means when the part of the grid needs to be repaired, everyone is affected. This is where a microgrid can help. A microgrid generally operates while connected to the grid, but importantly, it can break off the operate on its own using local energy generation. In time of crisis, like storms or power outages, or for the other reasons like natural calamities, etc. A microgrid can be powered by distributed generators, batteries, or renewable resources like solar panel, depending on how its fuel and how its requirements are managed. The microgrid might run indefinitely. How now the question is, how does microgrid connect to the grid? A microgrid connects to the grid at a point of common coupling that maintains the voltage at the same level as the main grid unless there is some sort of problems on the grid or other reason to disconnect. A switch can separate the microgrid from the main grid automatically or manually, and it then functions as an island. Now more question is evolve. Now one question is the evolve here is that why would a community choose to connect a microgrid? The microgrid not only provides a backup for the grid in case of the emergency, but can also be used to the cost cut off the cost or connect to the local resources that is too small or unreliable for a traditional grid use. A microgrid allow communities to the more energy independent and in some cases more environmentally friendly. So it is a actual work of the microgrid. Let's move on next slide. So the what are the operating modes of the microgrid? The main operating modes of the microgrid are the grid connected mode, island mode, and network mode. Environmental aspects. So environmental aspects for the microgrid is that it can help deploy more zero emission energy sources, make use of waste heat, reduce energy lost through the transmission lines, help manage power supply and demand, and improve the grid resilience to extreme weather. Basically, it is a low cost, efficient, reliable excel power, provide clean energy, local resiliency, and sustainable and low carbon generation. It is a CO2 emission can reduce, and it is also help to reduce the large land use impact. These are the environmental aspects. Basically, it is a clean energy. It helps us in very ways. Let's move on next slide. So, what is the difference between conventional grid versus a microgrid? The efficiency of the conventional grid is very low as compared to the microgrid. A large amount of energy in the form of heat is wasted in the conventional grid. Power sources in the case of microgrid are the small, are located near the load. Another difference is that the electric vehicle integration in the microgrid is present, where the conventional grid is possible but with a few changes. Energy storage options in the microgrid is the present, also in the conventional grid present, but the operational efficiency of the microgrid is very high as compared to the conventional grid. uh, inter Also the difference are like reliability of the microgrid is a medium as compared to the conventional grid. Conventional grid reliability is very low. Renewable integration of the microgrid is a possible, but in the conventional grid the possible with a lot of difficult, and it is not economical. There are the major differences between the conventional grid versus a microgrid. Let's move on next slide. Advantage and disadvantages of the microgrid. So the advantages of the microgrid, it is reduce the demand on the utility grid and prevents grid failures. Also, it is the ability to disconnect from the utility grid during the disturbance and the operate independently. We can use the both electricity and heat energy so that overall efficiency increases of the microgrid, and our domestic use also. The provide efficient, low cost and clean energy. It is a main difference, main advantages also. Improve the operation and the stability of the regional electrical grid. Critical uh, it is a it is a critical infrastructure that increases the reliability and resilience. Reduce the grid conjunction and the peak loads are the main advantages of the microgrid. So what is the disadvantages of the microgrid? The disadvantages of the microgrid are the voltage and frequency and power quality should be acceptable limits, require battery tanks to store, which require the space and maintenance. uh, Protection is also sometimes difficult, as we know, because in India every season has a where na where somewhere is a natural calamity comes, so that affects on the microgrids. Let's move on next slide. So, what is the applications of the microgrid? We know the microgrid provides a very clean energy, and it is a very sometimes economical, but it has a maintenance charges somewhere. But the microgrids we can use in a cities, military base, campus, school, communities, villages, commercial and industrial facilities. They are the microgrid is a cost effective, so basically, so it can lower cost and associate with electricity through the self-generating and consumption. So, moreover, microgrid are increasingly being equipped with an energy storage system as the batteries become more cost competitive. So, microgrid we can use a microgrid anywhere where we want actually. Let's move on next slide. So, future direction on the microgrid search. So, the future of the microgrid has become a more advanced, renewable, standardized, scalable, and cyber secure. Actually, main point is the cyber securities. Over the last few years, microgrid deployments throughout the world have increased. We should expect this trend continue as a market projection point of steadily increasing annual microgrid capability and the spending. Indian microgrid growth could be the further expected by new opportunities, and the India become a world largest microgrid energy producer in next some decades. Thank you.
Zeal Education Society, redefining excellence.